everyone. It's Amanda Rieger Green. Welcome to Soul Sessions and welcome to October. I tell you what, I feel like this energy and this month is highly impactful. It's got a curious combination numerologically and energetically. We're certainly still in eclipse season, and we start out the month on October 2nd with a Libra new moon eclipse. So we are in it. And Pluto is standing still in the sky, about to turn direct, and so is Jupiter, but Jupiter is turning retrograde. So we got big old Jupiter and death and rebirth transformative Pluto. We've got eclipse season happening, and then we have the numerology. And I tell you what, this combination, it's this beautiful balance. Libra season. I'm going to use the word balance because we're in Libra season. It's this beautiful balance between dynamic action and passionate action and compassionate reflection. And that is an interesting combination to have, because one is wanting to zoom forward and go and do and get her done, and the other one is sensitive and reflective and observant. So it requires a lot of balance and quite a bit of self-awareness and personal exploration. So numerologically, we are in a 9-month in an 8 universal year. And the combination of the 8 and the 9, it has tremendous potential to shift in vibrational frequency, to level up, and it levels up through letting go. So it's very paradoxical energy. It levels up through letting go. It's surrender to win kind of energy. If you look back at your September, and I encourage everyone to spend a little time doing this and summoning your honesty, the Libra new moon eclipse will give you that oomph to summon your truth and your honesty within. But take your temperature gauge from September. Was it amazing? Did you have breakthroughs? Did you feel empowered and emboldened and like you had grown? Did you feel peaceful, easy, clear, fluid? Did you feel like the bottom was just being totally dropped out from underneath you? Was it hard? Was it heartbreaking? Was it exhausting? What did your September look like? If you reflect back numerologically, we were in an 8-month, in an 8-year. And the one thing I said about it is, hey, y'all, you reap what you sow. And I wasn't saying it to be harsh, because it means, gosh, if you've been doing the work and you've been aligning your lessons, you're probably going to have some clarity and some breakthroughs, whether it's joyful and empowering or it's easy and fluid. But if there are lessons that are needing to be learned that you just haven't been ready to face, or it hasn't been time, it may be super challenging. And none of this is to say this is your fault or you did something wrong. It's all about divine timing. So whatever showed up for you in September, whether it was confronting or comforting, take note, because that's the data you want to take into October. There's a couple cool things about October and the numerology. First and foremost, the October numerology is the same as the January numerology. So in January of 2024, we were in an 8 universal year in a 9-month. We were in the same number code. And here's what's important about this. I want you to take a little time, or I encourage you to take a little time and reflect back to January. What was going on for you? What were you walking through? What was showing up? What decisions were you making? What action were you taking? Where were you stuck? Where were you empowered? Whatever was coming up, look back at your calendar, look back at your journal, see what was coming up for you, and see what comes up for you this month, because there will be some overlap energetically. But for me, and I've done this, I sat down and I looked at January and I was like, holy cow. January was a really immense month for me on a personal level, on a professional level. I was asserting myself and making some big changes professionally. And personally, my mom's dog was declining. We ended up putting him to sleep in February. It was the anniversary of my mom's death in February. So I was not even a year into the anniversary of my mom's death. So, I mean, I can give you all the personal stuff that was going on for me, but you can already hear, wow, there was a lot in my heart on my plate in January, and I moved through it, and I did it with pretty darn good integrity. But if I flash forward to now, to October, I'm like, whoa, look at how that stuff has made room for new things, because the energy of the 9 is about clearing out. It's about closure. It's about letting go. And sometimes we don't want to let go. We claw our way and we grip really tight. This is not about tight gripping. It's saying, what is it that is limiting my life? What can I let go of in order to create space for something new? And if you think about the energy of the 8 and the 9, it's like scaling a business. The 9 is a very heart-centered, compassionate energy, but it is also the sum total of all the numbers that come before it. So it's individualistic. It's a self-starter like the 1. Relationships and intimacy, balance and harmony are very important to it. It is all about creativity and communication. That's the energy of the 3. It loves organization and getting everything in its right part. That's the energy of the 4. It loves being able to shift its perspective and embrace new adventures. That's the energy of the 5. It is compassionate and nurturing and summons its wisdom. That's the energy of the 6. It is a seeker and a searcher and loves to dissect and connect the cosmic dots. That's the energy of the 7. And it is dynamic and empowered and seeking leadership, wanting to grow. That's the energy of the 8. So the 9 is a freaking conundrum and gumbo of energy. It's exhausting. Yet at the same time, it's using all of the frequencies in the numbers that come before it in the most efficient and quality-oriented way and with the highest integrity. So the energy of the 9 is saying, what is coming to completion in my life? And what am I ready to let go of? And if you're not ready to let go of it, most likely the universe will orchestrate it, and it will either take it away from you or kind of like hit you upside the head and say, okay, silly, like I've tried to give you the opportunity to speak up and make changes, but you're not doing it. So here's the set of circumstances I'm going to give you. And it may seem harsh, but this is for your own good. And that's the energy of the 9. It's like, if you're not showing up and letting go or relinquishing control where you are able to do that, the universe will say, hey, I'm going to take this away from you. So it can be kind of harsh. And the energy of the 8 is so driven and so empowered and sometimes blunt. The 8 is not the most compassionate of the numbers, okay? It's not that the 8 doesn't have passion, because the 8 is loaded with mojo and passion, but compassion is not its go-to. So the beauty of the combo of the 8 and the 9 is you got the passion of the 8 and the compassion of the 9. So that combination says, whatever I'm showing up to do, whatever I am facing or entering into in my life, am I coming from an open heart? Is it coming from my heart space? Because the 9 is about moving from the heart. Just know that this month, look back to January, see what correlations you can draw, give yourself some credit from where you've grown or where you're struggling. That's always, I'm just so big on reflecting and connecting the dots, because it's what levels me up and gives me the epiphany. It gives me the epiphany, which is where the consciousness shift happens. In addition to that, we will be in a 9 year in numerology in 2025. So get ready, because the 9 is no joke. I just told you it was the sum of all the numbers that come before it. And y'all know this. I'm a 9 attitude, a 9 life path, born in a 9 year. And I happen to be born on an 8 day. October the 8th is my birthday. So I've got the energy of 9998. That's just the code that I operate within. So these energies are familiar to me. And believe me, the shadow side of the energies, I know those very well. It's like the devil you know. So I know how to get out of my own way better today. But But I want you all to figure out this month, how do I get in my own way? How do I limit myself with my perspective, with my attitude, with not asking for help, with not using my resources? See where you are limiting yourself and see if you can make the decision to create some healing or some change around that, because it's a very dynamic month, but it's important that the dynamic energy is coupled with compassion and heart-centered action. So if it comes from your heart, the way that you will know that, if something is truly emanating from your heart space, you will feel revitalized. If something is truly emanating from your heart space, you will feel revitalized. Like you will feel fired up and passionate. That's the energy of the 8. And the energy from your heart will be like a wellspring of pure positive potential. So if interactions or opportunities or insights feel like that, you're in it. You're in the higher vibration. If you feel depleted, exhausted, agitated, annoyed, victim-y, disgusted, you're in the low vibe. And I tell you what, the high vibe of the 8 and 9 is so high. The low vibe of the 8 and 9 ain't nothing much lower. It's like pity and anger and victimization and blame and shame all over the place. So if you find yourself in the low state of energy, as quickly and resiliently as you can, either see where you can shake it off, move your body, shift your attitude or perspective, or ask for some darn help. Tell on yourself. Ask somebody to hold some space for you, or get out of yourself and be of service. And maybe even if you're feeling good, get out of yourself and be of service, because that will just bump up your frequency higher. Big things to look out for this month in the astrology. There's a whole podcast on the eclipse, on the new moon eclipse in Libra that's October 2nd. October 9th, Jupiter will retrograde at 21 degrees of Gemini. Jupiter will be retrograde until February 4th. And something very important to note, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, Chiron, and Pluto are all retrograde. Pluto will station direct October 11th. So Pluto is about to station direct in 29 degrees of Capricorn. And this is very poignant. It's extremely potent and powerful. It's heavy. It's immense. There's a lot. I'm going to talk about that in a second. But all that to say, apart from Pluto, stationing direct, all of the outer planets are retrograde. What the heck does this mean? When the outer planets are retrograde, it's more about the evolution of our soul's journey, our journey of a lifetime. It's stuff that's going on in the unconscious, in our cells, in our DNA. It's not like on the day-to-day we're seeing the retrograde like we would with Mars or Venus or Mercury, the planets that are closer in that really do impact and interact with our day-to-day. The outer planets are really more evolutionary. They speak to our soul, but we have all these planets retrograde, these outer planets. So they will start to move direct. So Jupiter will be retrograde until February 4th. Saturn is retrograde until November 15th of this year. Uranus is retrograde until January 30th of next year. Neptune is retrograde until December 7th of this year. And Chiron, the wounded healer, the asteroid that's the wounded healer, is retrograde until December 29th. It turns direct at the very end of the year, which is so poignant because it's in Aries. We'll talk about that more later. But the reason I'm sharing this with you all, we have this window where all of these outer planets are retrograde. And it's like you're getting, whether you know it or not, this cosmic upgrade, clean out, download. So something is happening on a cellular level and I can feel it. I mean, the energy is just changing. And I had someone recently reach out to me and was talking about parallel dimensions, the multiverse, but we were talking about New Earth and split reality, 3D reality versus 6D reality. And she said, she's like, it's like people are talking about this split reality. And I'm like, yeah, it's here. People have been predicting this for years, that the earth would shift in vibrational frequency, and it's like reality would split. There would be a new earth, a different earth. And I'm like, it's here, it's happening. And one aspect of the split earth is you have this higher vibrational frequency, like a 6D frequency, that is, things are coming together easier and more harmoniously through love. Doesn't mean that everything is just perfect and just tracking and happening, but things are becoming more simplified and clarified and fluid. And then there's the 3-dimensional aspect of things that are hard and harsh and frustrating and like pushing a boulder uphill. So notice your energy field. Notice when things just kind of come together and you have a day that just feels fluid for the most part. Like you got your work done, you got your kids picked up, you got your groceries. Stuff just flowed together versus a day where it's like, when you spill your coffee on yourself and you leave your keys in the house and it's, how it all ensues after that, versus that kind of day where it feels like square peg, round hole, square peg, round hole. That's 3-dimensional energy versus 6-dimensional energy. And I want you to just consider this. And by the way, 3 + 6 = 9. So if we like relate what I'm saying to numerology and frequencies, there it is. But I just want you to think, when you're in a state where things feel hard and resistant, don't fuss at yourself or try to escape it. Just be like, whoa, things feel really hard right now. Let me take a breath. Let me inhale. Let me exhale. Let me hit the reset button. This is a great month to pause and reset whenever you need to remember to do that. When I first started teaching yoga, one of those things we would say in a yoga class is, you can always begin again. It was like, at any moment, you can begin again. But it's so true. Like, that is a wonderful theme to remember this month. At any point of your day, you can choose to begin again. Hit the reset button 15 times a day if you need to, but be self-aware enough to know when you're in a state of resistance, a lower vibrational frequency, so you can say, hey, this doesn't feel good. This is not optimal. Let me take a breath, because I really would rather be in a state where things are fluid and organic. And if you are struggling, if you are just kind of in a place in your life where you feel like nothing is working out, that you are desperate, that you're alone, that everything is stacked up against you, first of all, I am beaming you big love. There's big love, Care Bear staring out to you. But secondly, for me and for many people I know who I admire and see so much light in, my light has shone through at my most desperate times. I love the acronym for God, the gift of desperation, because when we're desperate, when we're at the lowest of our low, it does not feel like a gift, right? Like, it does not. It's like, get me out of this. This isn't fair. Why is this happening to me? If you only knew. All the blame, all of the pile-on of emotions. But what the window of opportunity in desperation is, this empowerment that comes through, that is a power greater than you, to say, okay, can I make a decision to fill in the blank, heal, grow, change, take accountability, remember my power, remember my light, and remember who you came into this planet to be. And I feel like with the outer planets retrograde and this phase between now and January, we are in a massive growth spurt. And if you're really struggling, then use it. Use it to your advantage to rise higher. Do not give up. Do not give up, because there is this new earth and this split consciousness happening. I can feel it. I can see it. Others are feeling and seeing it. And it's like, we want to be on that train. Let's all get on that train. And if you're listening to this, you're on that train. Even if you're struggling, you're probably on that train. So heal the struggle so we can all get on it, because it's going to lift up more of humanity. And I truly do believe that. On October 13th, Mercury will enter Scorpio. Mercury moves from, Libra, where it is discerning and diplomatic and about balance and harmony, into penetrating Scorpio, where it says, I need to get down to the truth of things, even if they're painful. So with everything I just talked about getting honest with yourself, if there is an energy that will support you in that, guess what? From October 13th on, you've got it. Mercury will be in Scorpio. My natal Mercury is in Scorpio, so I think like a Scorpio. Like I'm a Libra over here, but I'm a freaking Scorpio behind the scenes. That's why it's like, look at my shadow. Let's get down to business. I mean, that is the oomph you want. And on October 22nd, the sun will move into Scorpio. So just know, as we move through to the second half of the month, you will have that penetrating focus that Scorpio has. And the challenge with the penetrating focus is Scorpio just gets too damn serious for its own good. It loves digging deep into the darkness and figuring it out and tackling it just so intently that it forgets to loosen up, lighten up, and just kind of give everybody and itself a break. So take your Libra vibes of balance and harmony and ease into your Scorpio energy so you can penetrate the darkness with your light and with your clarity and focus in whatever you're healing and evolving, but loosening up and lightening up. And fortunately, Venus enters Sagittarius on October 17th. And to me, that's like a breath of freaking fresh air, because Venus in Sagittarius Venus, of course, is about romance and relationships and the material world. And in Sagittarius just eats up life and adventure and learning and expansion of horizons. And it eats it up too much, by the way. It's like, if more is more, then more is more. Like both and. That's the energy of Sag. So we do get Venus that is kind of craving in Sagittarius, that's craving and wanting more. So be mindful of that, especially with both Mercury and the sun moving into Scorpio the second half of the month, because there's that penetrating energy and that laser focus that comes with Scorpio that can really alchemize and transmute. With also Venus being in Sag, you might overdo it. You might overcompensate. You might push too hard on yourself or other people, pushing too hard on other people to be what you want and not who they are. Be mindful of that, because that's coming through really clearly, is your expectations and staying on your side of the street, because the alchemy that we can all experience this month is internal. And when we change and the way we see the world changes, then our external circumstances change. Other people have the opportunity to change. But where is our power? Our power is now, and our power is within. I want to give a couple of crystal recommendations for this month, because I feel like between the eclipse season and the outer planets and retrogrades and direct, all the orbits and the things going on, and then the numerology, it would be really helpful. One crystal, and this one is kind of a hard one. So if you can't get your hands on it, or you can't find one and it's too expensive, remember this with crystals. You don't need a crystal to work with crystals' energy, okay? Let's say you want to work with the energy of a diamond and you don't have a diamond. Well, you don't need to have one. You just write down the attributes of a diamond and you think about it and you focus on that energy and you ask the energy of a diamond to support your energy field. So the recommendation I'm going to give is a Herkimer diamond. I have one Herkimer diamond. I've had it for years. They're mined in Herkimer, New York, which is in upstate New York. And it looks like a quartz, but it's got some rutilation and different attributes to it that it looks like a diamond, but it looks like a quartz. Like it's a kind of a hybrid between a diamond and a quartz crystal. But Herkimer diamonds are exceptional for shifting your vibrational frequency, creating clarity of consciousness and cognition, discernment and interconnection between the head and the heart, and the upliftment of the energy field. They're wonderful for channeling. exceptional for channeling. So Herkimer diamonds, that would be my biggest reach and recommendation if you're going to work with a crystal this month. And I would meditate with it in your hand or sleep with it under your pillow. And if you don't have a Herkimer diamond, before you go to bed, say, hey, Herkimer diamonds, I'm going to pretend that I'm putting you under my pillow. Work with me. And you can laugh about that out there, but we don't need crystals to raise our vibrational frequency. We get to have crystals that complement and uplift our energetic frequency. They're a privilege that we get these crystals, but we don't need them. The intelligence is already within. We are the AI. We are the intelligence, and we're activating this intelligence within. So Herkimer diamond would be my first go-to. And the other crystal that is coming to mind is carnelian, and that's totally a Scorpio stone. But I love carnelian for both Libra and Scorpio season, and I also love carnelian for the energy of the 8 and the 9. Carnelian is a wonderful sacral plexus stone, so it works with your emotions, and it works with your creativity and your passion. And what I love about it is it creates this fluidity, or this organic dance of energy where it's like Kundalini energy rises up. Passion rises up from the depths of your belly up through your heart and out into the world through your voice or your mind or your actions and interactions. So I love carnelian for emotional balance and resiliency. And I love the Herkimer diamond for cognition, clairvoyance, clairaudience, intuition, channeling, clarity of your aura and your energy field. So those would be two crystals that I would recommend this month. And the eclipse, October 2nd, which is the day that this podcast is being released. So we have a whole episode on that with some details around the new moon eclipse. But I'm sure I will do an episode on the full moon that is in the second half of the month. We've got a full moon in Aries on October 17th. So I will give you more details there. But that is kind of what will begin to close out eclipse season, and we'll be dealing with the polarity of Aries and Libra. So Aries being the I, Libra being the we. And that is probably, again, when we talk about relationships and Libra energy, that polarity, which is very exacerbated in the energy field right now, is an important one. So I feel like this full moon on October 17th, where the sun will be in Libra and the moon will be in Aries, and it's at 24 degrees at 7:26 a.m. in the morning Eastern time, if you're wanting the dates and the times already. But that being said, I feel like that eclipse is going to test us and challenge us to grow and to use our voice with greater integrity, greater character, and wisdom. So more to come. I'm going to do a little bit of a deeper dive into the numerology of this month, because the 8 and the 9 are such an incredible combination of energy, and the 9 is the direction we're moving in for 2025. So having these two work together is really a beautiful preview into next year, but also leveling you up or asking you where you need to level up in order to be the brightest version of yourself. So definitely get your crystals, get centered, do a little assessment on your energy field. Think back to January. Like, if you don't do anything, reflect to September, like I suggested, and reflect back to January, because I think not only will it give you a clearer perspective, I think you will connect some dots and have some epiphany moments that will propel you forward and equip you with your own light, your own intelligence, that you are activating and capable of really not only activating within yourself, but sharing with the people around you and emitting that frequency out into the world. Take care, everyone. Be well. Thank you so much for listening to Soul Sessions. If you've got questions, do not hesitate to reach out. Email us, podcast@soulsessions.me. If you love this podcast and you want to hear more, make sure you're following it, liking and subscribing, and sharing it with other people. Send this energy out. Share it with other people. Remember, you can always get your dose of Soul Sessions. New episodes drop on Wednesdays. You can also follow me on Instagram, TikTok. It's at Soul Pathology, or check out soulpathology.com. I appreciate you and your light. Thanks for listening.
Does money stress you out? Let Facet flip your financial chaos into clarity.
We feel way more confident and secure in our finances, and with that comes a sense of freedom.
Financial planning from Facet is here to help you improve your life today, tomorrow, and every day after that.
Facet was really the place where we saw all of the tools and the people coming together.
Visit Facet.com, FACET.com to learn more. This ad is sponsored by Facet. Facet Wealth is an SEC registered investment advisor. This is not an offer to buy or sell securities, nor is it investment, legal, or tax advice. These testimonials are from current Facet members who are not compensated. All opinions are their own and not a guarantee of a similar outcome.